Hi everybody, John here. Let me just adjust my camera so you can actually see the top of my head. Okay, that's a bit better. This is a little series of videos on the two most common shapes to use for bar chords, the E shape and the A shape. So in this one, we're going to go over the three most common, most frequently used chord shapes in the E shape. And then I'll do more where I go over the A shape, and then a couple where we try some more advanced chords like a sixth, a minor seventh, that kind of thing. So first of all, what's the point of learning bar chords, you may well ask? Well, the point is this. Once you've learned a bar chord, you don't have to change the shape of the chord. You just move it up the neck to get a higher chord. So for example, if I play E major here, and then I want to go to F sharp major, I just move the shape up and bar above the third fret, and that's F sharp major, and here's B. The other thing is, if you have to transpose a song to a different key, like suppose you learned a song in E, so it starts out in E major. Well, the singer says to you, hey, I can't quite hit that low note, can you move the key up to G? Well, normally this might take a little thinking, but once you've learned bar chords and learn how they work, the fact that each time you move it up one fret, it raises the key a half a tone. So if I start out here and I go up one fret, that's now F. If I go up 3 frets, it's now G major. So I could take the pattern I've learned. Let's say I'm just playing a 3-chord song in E like this. E, A, B, A, E. All right, well now I'm going to move it up and start it in the G position. How do I know it's G? Because the root note in the E pattern bar chords is the bottom string, and here that's G. There's E, there's G. Okay, so now I'm going to take that very simple little 3-chord blues or rock pattern I showed you, start it in G, and all I have to do is keep the same relationship in terms of number of frets I go up, and use the same pattern. So G, C, D, C. So that's pretty easy, right? And that's the reason to learn bar chords. Any chord on the guitar can be played in a number of different positions on the neck and a number of different fingerings. But to make it easier for you, bar chords let you use the same shape. All right, so let's start with the E major pattern. Now normally you finger E major with your index finger on the G string to get the G sharp, but this time you're going to do it with your third finger. There's the G sharp, and then the fourth finger goes on the A string to give you B at the 2nd fret, and then your pinky goes on the D string, also at the 2nd fret, to give you the E. So there's your chord. Now the reason you want to finger it that way is with bar chords you always have to keep your index finger free. You can't use it as the chord because it's acting like a capo. So it's going to take some practice to get bar chords right, and what I suggest you do is don't worry about chords, just concentrate on getting the position and tension you hold your finger there right until you get a clear sound from every string, like this. Once you do that, as you add a chord, you should get a clear sound from every note in the chord. So move it around, practice until you've got the feeling for the finger right. I put it just behind the fret, rolled back a little bit, then move on with it. So E bar chords, here's the E major pattern I just showed you. So there it is in the E position. If I want to move it up to A, it's the same fingering. You notice I didn't change any of these fingers. I just changed the fret I'm starting it at. B, C, and so on. So that's the first one. And here, just to clarify a little bit, is the E major pattern. The vertical lines are the strings. The horizontal lines represent the frets. And you'll see third finger here on the G string, and then The other two fingers make the E on the D string and the B on the A string. So, pretty simple chord. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the dominant seventh. And for a change, I'll show that to you first. Here's the fingering. Now, basically, two of the fingers are in the same position as they are in the A major chord, but you take your finger off the D string if you're playing it as an open chord. So you take the pinky off, and that opens the D string up to a D, to its open sound. You can hear me having a little trouble fingering it. I probably need to clip my fingernails. And that's the pattern. So third finger is on the G, first fret to get the G sharp, fourth finger is on the A to get the B, and the D is open. Okay, so as a bar chord, here's G seventh, G7th, A7th, D7th, D7th. Now, of course, those chords can also be played in the open position down here. But again, the advantage of learning to do them in the barred version is not only what I mentioned earlier, transposing to a different key. It's also that you can do some effects like sliding. Like suppose you're playing G7th and you want to slide up to C7th, which is sort of a typical blues move. Well, you can do it with a bar chord easily, like this. You just got to keep a little bit of pressure on that finger, the index finger, as you're going up. So far we've done the major, E major pattern, E dominant seventh pattern. Let's do the minor pattern. And here it is. Again, two of your fingers stay in the same place. You just, there's E minor. So you take off the finger that was on the G string, that was your third finger to get the G sharp, because in E minor the G sharp goes down to G, which is an open string at the bottom here. There's E minor. So difference between E major, more positive, more up, E minor, more sad and incomplete. So there's the E minor fingering. Now how about as a bar chord? Let's say we want to play a strange chord like G minor. You don't often hear G minor in most rock and pop and blues songs, although it's there. So I move my finger up to the third fret, and I don't change the position of these two fingers because the chord shape doesn't change. There's G minor. Here's A minor. Now, a lot of horn players, sax and so forth, like to play in B flat because that's the lowest natural note on their instrument. Well, suppose someone said, can you come up with a B flat minor? Well, that's a difficult chord to do down here, although you can do it. The easy way to do it is just take the E minor shape I'm showing you, move it up one above the A, B flat, there you go. There's B flat minor. How about F sharp minor, another chord you don't see a whole lot in a lot of typical rock and pop and blues. Move my finger up 2 frets, boom, boom. Sorry, yeah, 2 frets, and the other fingers go up 2 frets as well. There's F sharp minor. So there you go, 3 shapes. With those 3 shapes, you can play any major chord, and there's 12 of them because there's 12 frets, and there's 12 semitones in the standard scale. With the dominant 7th pattern, you can play any dominant 7th, even one as strange as B flat dominant 7th. I added an extra D there to get a better sound, but it's the same chord as I showed you. And you can play any minor. So I recommend learning this, practice this. Practice, first of all, getting your bar finger right, then getting the chords right, then trying them in different positions on the neck. The next video, I'll do the same thing with the A pattern chords. And once you have the A pattern chords for major, minor, and dominant seventh, and the E pattern chords for major, minor, and dominant seventh. You can switch back and forth between them and get some really neat sounds without hardly moving your fingers at all, like this. Here's A, and then here's E, D. So I can, if you really want a fast strum between the two, you can go, etc. Okay, thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful.